Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our Global TV Deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in the state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent, it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits only temporarily those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corrupt people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter, it's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much-needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society.
Together, run, keep going on, let's process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just as I and I as a watching man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I shall never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Day or night. We gonna bust down Babylon walls. Prepare the way. Prepare the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war and crime. Fight down. Me say Rastafari. War and crime. And do that righteousness. And we love. I will love Jaja, Jah Rastafari. I will love Jaja, Jah Rastafari. Save all people. Yeah, we love Jah. We love Jaja, Jah Rastafari. We love Jaja, Jah Rastafari. Preserve all people. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just as I and I as a watchman, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace while we penalize. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way, prepare the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down war and crime, fight down war and crime. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah Rastafari. Preserve all, and we love Jah Rastafari. Me love Jah Rastafari. Me love Jah Rastafari. Preserve all. Me love Jah Rastafari. Jah Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. And then DJ Twink.
Good evening and welcome to the blunder that we knew from the very day. The MORANT Bay Urban Center. Oh, it's crying time again. We're gonna need Gramps. Call Gramps Morgan for us, please. Call Mark Golden. Can we have some questions to ask Mark Golden? Call Mark Golden if you know. We'll come about few people tonight. Owner the Globalists, good evening and welcome to my community of part and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls. Good evening, welcome, one and all. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave the prime. I want to deal with Mark Golden first, because when I get to Andrew Olneth and Gramps Morgan tonight, by the time I get round to Andrew Olness, but Mark Golden says something which I want to ask Mark Golden questions on. And Mark Golden is under duty to answer those questions because I am confused and I'm sure I possibly might not be the only one. Globalist, how no do? Welcome one and all. Debbie Jervis, Stevie, good evening. Beverly, good evening. Laverne, good evening and welcome. Charlotte Grime, good evening. Colleen, Myra Thomas, good evening. Asim, God bless, good evening. Canadian Girl, good evening. Anne-Marie McFarlane, Miranda Roddock, Winifred Saunders. Good evening, everyone. Like and share the live for us, please. We're going to go straight to what Mark Golden says. Re the NHT. Quite important information, I may add. But I have a question, quite a critical question for Mark Golden on this very matter that he's speaking on. Because what I heard means nothing, Mr. Golden. What I heard from Mr. Golden absolutely means nothing. At the end, I will tell you why I said it meant nothing.
Greetings. Today, I want to talk a bit more about the National Housing Trust. I did a video a couple of weeks ago celebrating the fact that this year is the 50th anniversary of the National Housing Trust, an institution started in 1976 by then Prime Minister Michael Manley, an institution which has had a and transformational impact on the housing situation in Jamaica over the years since then. Now, in 2013, when the PNP government had just come into office, we faced a situation where the debt of the country was completely out of control. We'd inherited that from Bruce Golding, his regime, who had entered into an IMF agreement. You remember they had to abandon it. They weren't performing any of the commitments under it. And we had to bring things back under control and get the debt down. And we got advice, independent professional financial advice that said that if we did this for 4 years, it wouldn't impact adversely the NHT's performance of its mandate. And the decision was taken to help to get Jamaica back on its feet at a critical time by this 4-year commitment. The law was amended to allow that. At the time, Andrew Holness spoke against it. He's on record, I believe, on TV saying that if he was Prime Minister, he would ensure that the resources of the trust were only used for the purposes for which they were funded there and so on.
That in principle, you believe that NHT funds should be ring-fenced to be used for NHT contributors?
It should be ring-fenced to use for the objects and purposes of the legislation, yes.
So let's just say the court ruling goes either way. Let's say there is a court ruling that says, no, actually, the government can use it for whatever it wants. You have your belief in principle. Does that mean that as Prime Minister, you would then follow through on those principles?
Yes,
either amend the law if necessary,
yes,
and ensure, in fact, that the dipping into the piggy bank doesn't occur.
And I tell you why.
That's a commitment?
It stands as a commitment. And I tell you why. There is a point of view that all public funds should be pooled, whether they are in trusts or that, having the public sector funds fragmented in this way doesn't help the central government. But then there is also another view that there are some funds that belong to account holders, funds like pension, funds like the NHD, and those funds ought to be totally excluded because technically they are the private property of contributors.
Well, since then, 10 years, the government has each year taken another $11.4 billion out of the National Housing Trust. They passed amendments to the NHT Act twice to allow them to do that. So you can imagine how disappointing it is to hear yesterday when they tabled the revenue measures that they plan to extend that for a further 5 years, take $11.4 billion a year out of the National Housing Trust for 5 more years. That's $57 billion on top of the $114 billion that they've already taken out of the NHT over the last 10 years. Now I have to ask you, doesn't Jamaica have a critical problem with affordable housing? Aren't Jamaican people, especially young people, struggling to find a way of acquiring their own home? The NHT is the vehicle that should be doing that. But when you keep taking the money out of it in such large amounts, you can't fulfill that mandate. And it's not fulfilling that mandate. And that is why in the PNP's manifesto in the last general elections, we committed to stopping that. We would no longer take the money out of the trust to fund the budget, which is what they've been doing, and which they're committing to do another 5 years. And they're going to have to pass legislation, implement that. So we're very disappointed by that. And we think it doesn't make sense anyway. Even if you were going to do it for 1 more year, because of the problems due to Melissa and trying to work out how to fund the budget, that would have been bad and not so bad. But to say now that you're going to spend it for 5 more years, when housing is such a problem in the country, what about the 40,000 people who lost their homes in Melissa? The NHT should be playing a much bigger role in getting them back on their feet in new housing. And the 90,000 additional people who had severe damage to their roofs and so on. Why are you depleting the NHT of resources as an agency set up for dealing with situations to do with housing? Put it into the general part of the budget where it was spent on wages and salaries and what have you. So we don't support this, and I certainly am very disappointed that they are coming with it. And, I'm going to try my best to persuade them to think again, because there's no way we can support 5 more years of taking the resources of this level out of the National Housing Trust, especially in its 50th anniversary year. Of course, I'm aware that the revenue measures include a large tax component as well, and I will be.
We are disappointed, he said. We are going to persuade them, he said. We want to hear definitively, Mark Golden, from you. If it is that the Prime Minister requires the 2/3 majority to amend the legislation to take another $57 billion out of NHT for the next 5 years, will the People's National Party, Mark Golden, vote along with the government in your disappointment for the government to pass the amendment in order to continue fleecing contributors' fund, especially contributors? You ought to be asking the opposition, will you vote with the government? If you're unable to persuade the government, Mark Golden, and I think you need to answer this to us, answer this to the NHT contributors. If it is that the government requires its 2/3 majority to have the legislation amended, or is it a simple majority? Which one is it that the government requires to have the legislation amended? And if it's a 2/3 majority, will the People's National Party vote along with the government, Empress Deb, the easy jerk, Kawanado? Will the People's National Party vote along with the government to continue to fleece contributors' money? It makes no sense Mark Golden come out here and tell us about his disappointment or tell us that he's going to try and persuade them. We want definitive speaking from the opposition. Under no, if you are this disappointed, what we need to hear from you, under no circumstances, we are going to support the amendment to continue fleecing the public's, the contributors' fund. We don't need to hear that you're disappointed. We don't elect leaders to be disappointed. We elect leaders to act. And as a leader of the opposition, we expect you to oppose the government continuous fleecing. The government must come up with a plan to divert that $11 billion a year into assisting people who were damaged by Melissa to get back on their feet into housing. That's what the opposition need to be pushing for. So we don't really care about your disappointment, Mark Golden. What we care about is knowing, will the People's National Party, if the government, if you, Mark Golden, and the PNP are unable to persuade Andrew Holness as you hope to, what will be the next move? Will you vote along with them to continue to fleece the contributors' funds? Or will you use your vote to stop him? That's what we want to hear. We don't want to hear that you're whatever is about it. That's not important to us. That doesn't protect contributors. Now, we're going to also look at an article we did yesterday, and Mark Golden questioning of the whole NARA and the pace of the recovery and all that jazz. We did this article from yesterday, but I forgot to bring it this morning because we were dealing with so much different issues.
Mark Golding, critical of recovery pace, bureaucracy, and NARA's rollout post-Hurricane Melissa. Opposition leader Mark Golding has maintained a largely critical stance on Jamaica's recovery from Hurricane Melissa, raising concerns about progress across affected parishes, government bureaucracy, and the implementation of the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. While acknowledging some incremental gains, he argues the response has not matched the scale of destruction caused by the Category 5 storm, which struck on October 28, 2025, leaving $8.8 billion in damage, equivalent to 41% of Jamaica's 2024 GDP, and affecting over 626,000 people. Concerns over recovery pace across affected parishes. Western parishes including St. James, Westmoreland, Trelawney, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth bore the brunt of the hurricane, with Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth hit hardest. 50 days after the storm, nearly 950 people remained in shelters, and 120,000 buildings were still roofless, while power outages persisted for weeks in many areas. Though the government has since launched a shelter recovery program, disbursing up to $500,000 per household for severe damage, and cleared over 1,600 truckloads of debris in St. James alone, Golding has emphasized that progress remains uneven and too slow for vulnerable communities. He has also questioned the adequacy of past relief measures, like the $10 million allocation per MP in hard-hit constituencies, arguing it falls short of addressing long-term reconstruction needs for small farmers, fishers, and micro-enterprises. Regarding the Oval, likely referring to community hubs or public spaces affected by the storm, while specific details on its recovery are limited, Golding has called for accelerated action to restore public infrastructure, schools, and health services across all impacted areas, stressing that delays risk reversing development gains. Critique of government bureaucracy. Golding links slow recovery to what he describes as overrun bureaucracy and a lack of accountability. In recent parliamentary debates, he challenged the structure of income tax amendments aimed at providing relief to affected workers, questioning whether statutory deductions would undermine full support, and advocating for a permanent, flexible disaster relief framework built into law. He has also echoed past concerns about governance inefficiencies, arguing that bureaucratic delays have hindered aid delivery, and called for greater transparency and bipartisanship to streamline efforts. The government, however, has highlighted its fiscal discipline in unlocking $6.7 billion in international financing as evidence of effective management. Assessment of NARA's operation. The National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority was established to lead recovery efforts, with a mandate to act as a single coordination point, embed climate resilience into planning, and deliver projects transparently. In the 2026 throne speech, it was described as a new development architecture that will transition from a department to a statutory corporation pending legislation. While Golding has not issued detailed public statements on NARA, his broader critique of governance suggests he may have concerns about its implementation. Key questions remain about whether the authority can cut through bureaucratic red tape, ensure equitable distribution of funds, and deliver on its promise to convert international financing into measurable, resilient infrastructure. The government has emphasized NARA's role in leveraging global partnerships for climate-smart housing and renewable energy, but Golding is likely to push for clear accountability mechanisms to track progress.
I'm still of the view that the PNP is not championing the real issues, the issues that plagues us every day. We're going to move over to the churches now before we get to Gramps Morgan. Want to call Gramps Morgan for you? Oh, it's crying time again. We're gonna need Gramps. Somebody have to come help we cry tonight. Can somebody call the synagogues of Satan, please? Somebody call the national disgrace them. Somebody call the synagogues of Satan, the churches across Western Jamaica, who is comfortable, very, very comfortable, taking the money, while their members are under tarpaulin, under zinc, every rainfall, them wet. But the churches are saying, better we repair so we can host them funeral. Yeah, I must at the church I said, it better we fix up, cause we have them funeral to do. Barring that, those people who God sent in the hedges and the highways. Oh, hallelujah tonight. The hedges and the highway have a particular spot now. So pretty building. Nobody wants to go into the hedges and the highways anymore. Everybody wants a big building to gather, mother, gather, and collect money. The churches have showed their disgraceful, greedy, money-grabbing hands in the aftermath of Melissa by taking this money while the people are still suffering. It's not the government only that doesn't have a heart. Those who come in the name of God are as heartless as those who represent the demons. Let's listen to this article. When we do, then we'll come back.
The $75 million church aid plan, a controversy at the heart of governance. The Jamaican government's $75 million church cleanup and restoration initiative, part of the post-Hurricane Melissa National Cleanup Program, has sparked significant debate, with tensions flaring between Prime Minister Andrew Holness and backbencher Everard Warmington. While the plan aims to support hurricane-affected churches in western parishes with debris removal, minor repairs, and structural improvements, it raises critical questions about resource allocation, governance priorities, and the role of religious institutions in public life. The government's rationale. Prime Minister Holness has clarified that the funding is targeted at immediate recovery needs, not full rebuilding, and emphasizes churches' role as community hubs that provide essential services beyond religious worship, such as hosting meetings and supporting vulnerable groups. All 105 applicant churches in St. Elizabeth have been verified, with shortlisting underway following the February 6th application deadline. The initiative is framed as a response to widespread damage that has disrupted both spiritual and community life in affected areas. Points of contention. Resource allocation priorities. Critics argue that the $75 million could be better directed toward housing, healthcare, or infrastructure projects that benefit all citizens, particularly as over 1,000 St. Elizabeth residents face complete home loss or uninhabitable conditions. This raises concerns about whether public funds should prioritize religious institutions over secular needs, even when those institutions serve community purposes. Accountability and transparency. Warmington, known for his outspoken stance on public fund management, has previously clashed with the government over partisan distribution of resources. While his specific objections to the church plan remain unconfirmed, his history of advocating for equitable spending suggests he may question how funds will be allocated, monitored, and ensured to reach all affected communities, regardless of religious affiliation or political alignment. Secularism and state-religion relations. The initiative also reignites debates about Jamaica's secular principles. Some argue that direct government funding for religious buildings risks blurring lines between state and faith, setting a precedent that could lead to preferential treatment for certain groups. Comparisons to international cases, such as Argentina's public outcry over church restoration funding, or India's debates about state support for religious institutions, highlight global tensions around this issue. Broader implications. The controversy underscores deeper challenges in balancing heritage preservation, community needs, and fiscal responsibility. While churches play a vital role in Jamaican society, the debate forces policymakers to confront difficult questions. How should public funds be prioritized in crisis recovery? What safeguards ensure equitable access to support? And how can the state uphold secular values while recognizing the social contributions of religious organizations. As the shortlisting process moves forward, the government must address these concerns to maintain public trust and ensure the initiative delivers meaningful benefit to communities affected by Hurricane Melissa.
Andrew's out of office. I can't tell the amount of time this youth violate him out of office. Now, the government is having a national cleanup campaign. A national cleanup campaign involves right across Jamaica where Hurricane Melissa left her debris. Why then does the government need, because remember the government switched him out and said the $75 million is for cleanup. But we know it's not about cleanup, it's about restoration. Why, one asks, does the church were empty for most of the week has the priority over people's dwelling? People who are still on the tarpaulin, people who are still on the zinc, people who are still in the element, people who them house them roof taka back, but every rain fall, it fall inside and outside. The churches were still a collect offering from the people them. The church them was still a collect tithe and offering. Oh God, boy, may I tell you the things them do to the people. The church them was still a collect tithe and offering from the people them were in a dot. It is sickening and sad to see the state of mental decay one of the people them in. What the people them can't even see. How the government and the church come together and prioritize themselves. Government prioritize tourism industry. Government prioritize church, and we still in the mud and water. Government prioritize tourism industry. Government prioritize church, and we still live down in the mud and water. Oh, no, see it? Not because we look like the mud and water down here. We don't see it. But I phone no church them, you know. I only still go through offering, you know. As to why Melissa never lift up all churches in Jamaica and drop in at the sea and make poor people get the land for build house pan or we build community centers or whatever pan. As to why Melissa come to Jamaica, left the church them, left the pastor them, and left the politician them, I have no idea. Because one of my cousins explained to my sister yesterday how Melissa was behaving. So when Melissa come in at the house, take all of the see them one time, he come in and he take the whatnot and he carry go put down, and he come back and he take sofa and he carry go put down. She said, what stopped Melissa is when Melissa go to the bed turn crossway the door, and I succumb. Melissa stop bail out for them house. They don't see we yet. Up until now, neither the government nor the church not see we. Me don't know if I true we and the rubble them look alike. Me don't know if I true we and the mud and water look alike, and with the so low down so the eye can't really look down for see we. But nobody not see we yet. Tourism sector get, church get, tourism sector get a ear tax break. We have to pay new tax. Nobody not see we, only not see it. Only not see everybody just a step over we. This is disgraceful to see how the church is behaving over money we donated to the Jamaica people. Over money we donated, we insurance, but then I get JPS not get to. Hey, Jesus have mercy. Are we alone in a fashion? One of us say we know in a fashion.
Morant Bay
We
Urban
know in a
Centre.
fashion, you know. When I pardon the wrong spelling, Panama, me have to go correct it, but the wrong spelling corrected everywhere else. All you don't know what is say we know in a fashion. JPS get the whole of our insurance money. Lynette Jenkins, how are you? Philly Wagwan. Remember saying, you know, JPS are the first we get all our insurance money, then just tuck up here and choke JPS, so just poof. Then tourism sector get, church I get, and to date, I don't know if we name no call, you know. I know nobody no see with the adult Sonia Barracks Byron, oh no do. I know nobody no see we adult. I know everybody name a call. Money a share up left, right, and center. Everybody I get, I know nobody can call for we name. We're not involved in the Melissa. And never we Melissa lick down a dot. I never feel we host Melissa pulling a sea. I never feel we host Melissa catter all over Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. No, it's not. Churches. It's crying time again. You're gonna need me. I can see the faraway look in your eyes. And I can tell you by the way you hold me, darling. And it won't be long. When I call Gramps, you know, we need somebody for help. Because when Gramps did a walk and cry, you know, I never really the crying time that time there, Ivan Bradford. I never really the crying time that time there when Gramps did a cry. And now we want help for cry. So somebody try call Gramps, tap him on his shoulder and tell him say, this year I seen thing for cry about. Not when him there walk and shed crocodile tears span. Not the Gramps will go all over, so he go all over the world. And him never see anything like this. Before no call Gramps, tell Gramps so we need. And no, we need murder balling. And no, we need murder balling Gramps. Because when you dare cry, and you play something, see we have reason for cry, you know. See we have reason for cry, you know. Where is Gramps? Where is Gramps Morgan to come and cry? Where is Gramps Morgan to come and tell us that how he has traveled around the world and he have never seen such a botch job before. He have never seen something open before it done or done before it open. Any one of them you want to put in and mix it up in. But Gramps Morgan, you need to come back and cry. You can't waste your eye water upon that. And know when eye water fit turn on like a pipe, there's no Gramps Morgan. This is the article we do pan the MARANT Bay debacle.
Morant Bay Urban Centre. A ribbon cut before ready questions over haste and accountability. Last March, Prime Minister Andrew Holness joined renowned entertainer Grams Morgan for a high-profile opening ceremony to cut the ribbon on the Morant Bay Urban Centre, billed as a transformative hub for business, culture and community in St. Thomas. Yet, more than a year on, the facility remains closed to tenants and the public, a situation that has sparked criticism over premature celebrations, project management, and the use of public funds. The grand vision versus current reality. The $120 million development was designed to house 24 retail units, a food court, a performance space, and administrative offices, with promises of creating 150 jobs and boosting local economic activity in one of Jamaica's most underserved parishes. The opening event, which featured live performances and speeches highlighting the center as a symbol of progress, drew widespread media attention and public optimism. Today, however, the site stands largely empty. Construction barriers still line the perimeter, essential utilities including electricity and water remain incomplete, and safety inspections have not been signed off by municipal authorities. Prospective tenants who signed preliminary agreements report being left in limbo, with no clear timeline for when they might be able to move in or recoup their deposit payments. Points of concern: premature ceremony, symbolism over substance. Critics argue that the decision to hold an opening before the center was operational was driven by political optics rather than practical progress. The timing coincided with local government elections in the region, leading to accusations that the event was staged to bolster support for the ruling party. This approach, they contend, undermines public trust in government announcements about development projects. Project management and oversight. Questions have been raised about the oversight of the construction contract, which was awarded to a consortium with limited track record in large-scale commercial developments. Reports indicate that delays stemmed from both supply chain issues and cost overruns, problems that some say could have been anticipated or mitigated with more rigorous planning and monitoring. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has yet to release a detailed breakdown of how funds have been spent or what steps are being taken to get the project back on track. Impact on local businesses and communities. The delay has had tangible consequences for Morant Bay's small business community. Several entrepreneurs who had planned to relocate or expand into the center have been forced to put their growth plans on hold, while others have incurred financial losses from halted preparations. Additionally, the community's expectation of improved access to goods and services and the jobs that were promised remains unfulfilled. Calls for action and accountability. Opposition leaders, along with local civic groups, are calling for an independent audit of the project to assess spending, identify the root causes of delays, and determine responsibility for the setbacks. There are also demands for clear communication from the government about revised timelines and support for affected tenants. Grams Morgan, who lent his public profile to the opening, has stated that he is deeply disappointed by the delay and has urged authorities to prioritize completing the work so the center can deliver on its promise to the people of St. Thomas. Looking ahead, the Morant Bay Urban Center controversy serves as a reminder that development projects must be measured by delivery, not ceremonies. As the government works to resolve outstanding issues and get the facility operational, it faces pressure to demonstrate that public investments are managed with transparency and a genuine commitment to serving community needs, rather than being used as tools for political messaging.
We don't want your disappointment. We want you to come back, come cry. Just like how you there cry, because when you go there the day, you see the unfinished building, you see the chaka place, and because they paint one part and put up banner and ribbon and balloon, you turn up and you cry your heart out. Cry me a river, Grant. Gramps. Cry me a river, Gramps. You need to either come back home, cry over the river, or dry up the river. Granny Rhinoceros. Granny Rhino. Yes, lady over there. The day after the urban center, the ribbon cutting, and the urban center was said to be open, everybody knew the day after Granny Rhino that it was a sham. It was an election sham. It was a ploy. So me don't know what Cliff Hughes, Granny Rhino, a Kongwan now, like, oh, this is shocking. It is so surprising. From the very next day, everybody did know, say, water no dede, electricity no dede, toilet facility no dede. So what Granny Rhino are going surprise about? Diane Campbell, oh, you do? What Granny Rhino are going surprise both? Because from the day after Morant Bay Urban Center ribbon cut and balloon bus, because that's all happened up there. Cut ribbon and bus balloon. Because remember, say the government and the franchise friend them never even opened the KFC till quite close to the election when they want to use KFC by vote. But this is what me telling us say. Me don't like entertainers and celebrity. Because these people, everybody use we as a profit. And let me tell you what I mean. Dirty Gram Smagan with the dirty old map on his head. They call themselves Rasta. And this is how these people commercialize things that they don't believe in. Because Gram Smagan them say them a Rasta, rent a Jed, map a Jed, or whatever. Me don't know which one he categorize himself as. But I can't be the real one. Because if I did the real one, Rastas don't conjure up and lie with the government and lie to the people. When Scrams Morgan come out and a cry to that was a deliberate lie. When Grams Morgan telling us say him travel the world and him never seen nothing like this before, that was a sin against God and man. It wasn't just a source of lie, It was a sin against God and man when Grams Morgan come out, come tell we say, because Grams Morgan turn up there and say, a rickety tickety. No finish there, no ready there. But Grams Morgan come out, come chicken, and this is how them play upon African Rastafarian with them music and trick people while they don't believe. They don't believe in a way them a sing, tell you say. They don't believe in it. You don't feel shame, Grams Morgan. You don't feel shame. How you put yourself up for the very day. For the very day we know say you was a wicked and a liar. Because when you go cry, and when you go say you travel the world and you never seen this before, and that's how we know you never good. And that's how we know you never somebody. But on broke off one limb at the for the tree of culture and on use it and commercialize it and profiteer for yourself. But do you really care about culture and do you really care about the people? That you could stand up in public and lie to us like that and know when enough you come out here, come cry. No one if you come out here, come cry when you're disappointed. We want to know out here for a ball and roll and a wall and a dot. And that happen when disgrace happen. So don't come out here, come talk about you're disappointed. What your disappointment can do to the problem? You tricked a lot of people when you went up there and cry. At least the idiot labor right them you tricked. You probably tricked some even some cultural Jamaican. You have some people who believe one celebrity sister or one pastor sister goes up with you. I have to follow it and I have to believe in it. How long will I go continue being wicked to the people? How long will I go continue mislead the people for their own commercial gain? And then to know say a lot of them can think for themselves, broad brush them and make them feel like care. And then them don't even know say is just them just so know as number, them just so know as a profit. It is really disturbing the contempt that these people have for us. You know what is sad though? These are the people that our people look up to. Politician, pastors, and celebrities, and those in the Epstein file, of course. The rich and powerful. Yeah, I be them on look up to. Wanna no shame? Wanna no shame say all of the people them wanna look up to, the whole world I look down upon now. There are still 3 million more files to pages to release, you know. It's not over yet. It's going to get more disgraceful. Is it not time for the PNP and the JLP to have a consensus and remove us from the pedophile household? But then again, if Andrew Holness is taking orders from pedophile Donald Trump, what on earth do you expect him to do other than be on his bended knees? Andrew Holness, 80 years ago, Michael Manley stood on his feet and stood when America was a giant. Jamaica stood up to America when America was a giant. Poor old America and her Zimmer frame. Jamaica is on her knees to Zimmer frame America. We were the first country in the 50s or so on, I believe, to stop doing business with apartheid South Africa. We led the way on the rebellion against apartheid South Africa. Look at us now. We can't even speak on Venezuela. We can't even speak up for Cuba. All right? Look at us. Look at what our youngest prime minister has taken us to. Into dictatorship. Into government led by profanities. Do you all understand where we reach? And do you all understand that Andrew Holness is taking us over the cliff with America? Andrew Holness is tying us to bastardization, criminality, pedophilia, and child rape. Yeah. That's where Andrew Holness said, it's better we lean to the Epsteins than go it with the global south. America is dying, you know, Andrew. The global south is rising, though. I wonder why our prime minister chose a dying empire to be our new colonial master. Just wonder why. But one could answer the question from them for themselves. They have an awful lot to gain out of it. They have an awful lot to gain out of it. And besides, they want to save themselves from prison. They want to save themselves from being plucked out of their bed crack of dawn in the morning. But when we chose government, though, we chose them to make decision on our behalf, not make decision based on what the Americans tell them to do. One should ask the question, why the fuck do we need any election in our country? Is it relevant anymore when the decisions they make do not match up with us? We don't know the decisions they're making. We don't know the dictations they've been given. You understand the dictatorship where we're in. You understand the lawlessness. Andrew has clinged to a president, a pedophile president. A president have no respect for international law. A president have no respect for the American Constitution. And Andrew Holness think that is the better way. I mean, Cuba stuck it out and has done much better than Jamaica, much better than Jamaica on the education front, on the science front. What have we done in science? Ask your leaders on your academic. What have we really done in science? Anyway, one's going to go to their bed. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Lovely to have your support. Continue to interact with our articles on Facebook, and it will also lead you to the website. Russia is preparing aid for Venezuela in crude oil and gas. We're keeping our eye on that. I'm sure some of you who have or up or visit our website, you would have seen we put out an article on that as well. Sir P said, in relation to Mark Shields, Iron Man is a place where any Anglo-Saxon would be one of the loyal place. I don't even know if I can suggest a way how to clean up corruption in our country. It is because it is so entrenched and intertwined. If you try to yank corruption from the ordinary Jamaicans, they would scream. Because the ordinary Jamaicans is as corrupt as the politicians and the clergy. The difference is they don't benefit from the corruption. That's the only difference. It is so entrenched and intertwined in every system that we have that, why may I tell you, how would we drain the swamp? That's something where we need to sit down and come together and really think about. How do we drain the swamp? Because we really have what is a swamp. Because corruption in Jamaica is a top-down, bottom-up. Top-down, bottom-up. It comes from the top and the bottom serve it right up. Hard to deal with. What agency are you going to use to deal with corruption in Jamaica? Ask yourself the question, sleep on it, and come back and tell me tomorrow. Is there an agency in Jamaica which we can use to tackle corruption? Thank you for being here with us tonight. Lovely to have your support. Join us back tomorrow morning for your At a Glance program. If you have not yet hit the like button, make sure you do so before you exit the program so, it can push the program in the algorithm. Thank you and good night from Global TV.
Together, run, keep going on, less process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just as I and I as a watching man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I she never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Day or night. We gotta bust down Babylon walls. Prepare the way. Prepare the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war and crime. Fight down. Me say Rastafari. War righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah, Rastafari, save all people. And we love Jah, we love Jah, Rastafari, we love Jah, Rastafari, save all people. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just as I and I as a watchman, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I and I should never hold thy peace, but we penalize. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way, prepare the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down war and fight down war and fight. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah, Rastafari, preserve all. And we love Jah, me love Jah, me love Jah, Rastafari, preserve all. Me love Jah, Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight, and then DJ Twink.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.